There's a meme or a picture that's pretty popular online. It has these two people that are digging through what looks to be like a gold mine or a diamond mine. And I'm looking at it on my computer right now. And one of the miners, he gets about this far away from a bunch of diamonds. And the caption of it says, "Never give up on your dreams because you never know how close you are." The point is that people give up too early, right? They do something, they set out to accomplish something, and they work at it for a while, and they give up before they actually end, before they ever get to the end destination that they're trying to get to. And the point is that a lot of us, myself included, give up too early. And it's good for us to push through things, even if it's hard, and keep going. Now, I bring that up because it kind of reminded me of it, because on today's book of the day, which is a Jim Rohn book, it kind of has that similar imagery. And so that's why it kind of made me think of it. But today we're reading The Power of Ambition by Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn is one of those authors. Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Napoleon Hill, these are all people that we can pick up a book, read it cover to cover, get a bunch of great information out of it that's going to be helpful in our life, put it on our bookshelf, come back to it a year later, and get something else out of it again. So these books are timeless and they're super helpful. Now, when I read books, sometimes I do physical books, sometimes I do ebooks, audiobooks, and my personal favorite way to read is to listen to the audio while I read the book and look at the words and actually go through and read it. But if you're anything like me, you might be a little bit busy, and sitting down and reading a book cover to cover, especially if you're doing a book a day, can be a little bit challenging. But with audiobooks, I feel like there's always a way to get a book done in a day if we're doing it via audiobook, because we can always do stuff like when we're on the go, if we're driving somewhere, if we're working out, whatever. I feel like there's always time that we can fit in listening to an audiobook. But here's the thing about audiobooks and why they can be dangerously not so helpful. And the reason why is because people do not typically retain information that they hear in audio format. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but there's studies that have been done on this. I want to say it's like between 10 and 20% of people learn via listening. A lot of people learn from reading. A lot of people learn from watching and implementing how somebody does something. And then a small portion of people actually learn just by listening to the instructions verbally. But it's not too many people that can do that. And I'm not one of those people as well. And so there is a way that we can still make audiobooks work, but we have to be strategic about it. And I think that it comes down to note-taking. When it comes down to listening to books via audiobook, I like to take notes on the books that I'm reading. And if something sticks out to me, I take out my phone or a little MP3 recorder and I make a quick voice memo on what that note was. What thing stuck out to me, and I give as much of the context as possible. And then later what I do is I compile those into notes that I then look back on and I do a couple of things with. The first thing that I'll share with you, and actually kind of the main thing that I like to do, I guess I do have a couple of things that I do with my notes, but I put them on these index cards. And so if I'm reading through and I'm reading a book and I get something out of it that's really helpful and something that I want to remember, I will write it down on one of these flashcards. And you can see here, I put something on the front, something on the back. And every single day, multiple times per day, I'm going through and I'm just looking at all of these flashcards. As you can see, they're starting to kind of like stack up quite a bit. And I got a whole bunch more that I'm ready to fill up. And so I like this because it helps me remember the things that I think are actually helpful. And when we're going through and we're reading these books, we don't need to get like 20 to 30 pieces of gold out of each book, even though some of these books might have it. We just need one or two things, and we need to just be getting one or two, golden nuggets every single day. And after a while, it'll be insane what we have. So I like flashcards. The other thing I do is I compile my notes into Notion, which I'll probably make a video and put out some resources here in the future, kind of on I have like a whole little command center that I do every day for operating my businesses and then my personal development stuff and all my book reading and stuff as well too. But anyways, I digress on that. Let's get into the book of the day, which is The Power of Ambition. I got a few things I'll read here inside of the book. And I also just wanted to go through some of my notes here that I took down. So one of the things that Jim talks about in this book is doing more than you get paid for. So I know that a lot of us, we may have jobs, you may own your own business. I'm not sure exactly where you're at today, but if you're getting paid to do something, right, whether it's a job or you have your business, something that Jim is really big on is doing more than you get paid for. And the reason why is it always, hang on a sec, it says always exceed expectations. Being intentional about your actions impacts all aspects of your life. That's what I was looking for. Impacts all aspects of your life, right? So when you are doing more than you are actually getting paid and compensated for, when I am doing more than I get paid and compensated for, it sets the bar for the rest of our life, right? It shows that we are the type of person in that moment and in other moments as well that we do more than we get paid for. And that's just something that really stands out in today's day and age, because a lot of people are trying to get. But if we all were trying to just give, the world would be a much better place. There's a book called Give and Take by Adam Grant. He talks about givers, takers, and matchers. And so, but anyways, doing more than you get paid for is something that stood out for me, because it's just like one of those simple things that we can kind of say, okay, I'm going to be the type of person that always goes above and beyond. And just, even if I'm not getting paid for it, even if I'm tired a little bit, I'm always going to give just a little bit extra in a situation, even if I'm not going to benefit for it, because I know that that's going to say more about who I am as a person more than anything else. So that's number one. Number two, patience and persistence, kind of going back to that little image that we were talking about of the digging through the diamond mine. A lot of us, myself included, when we go out to go and try to get something done, and we decide to just stop too early, too soon. We decide that, man, this is hard. I want to go and do something else. And I think that I'm going to be talking about this in one of the upcoming books, but I'm going to be talking about it right now too, because it's relevant. There's this thing called setup time, right? So I was reading a book today. It was about manufacturing. And in the business and the world of manufacturing, right, which is where you like do stuff in a warehouse, you make parts, or, like Amazon has their warehouses and stuff. I guess that's kind of more packaging and stuff, but people that like make products in warehouses, I guess you could say. And what they have something there that is called setup time. And setup time is that you have to get the machines ready. You have to make sure that the software is ready, that you have the staff ready. Like, it's a whole ordeal, and it takes a long time to get this stuff set up for these projects. Well, think about it. Every single time we say that we're going to start a business, or we're going to do this or whatever, every time we say we're going to do it, we have the setup time that we have to go through. We have to get set up. We have to get everything going. We have to organize everything, think through a plan. It's a big, long process. It takes a long time to do that. But when we're doing that, and we're bouncing from job to job, from thing to thing, because we're just kind of bouncing from one thing to the next, we are wasting so much time. And so patience and persistence is going to be key, because the thing that happens to a lot of people, and this has happened to me a lot as well too, is that we'll say we're going to do something, we'll start doing it, it gets hard, and then we pivot and we do something else. But little do we know that the grass is never greener on the other side. There's still the setup time, and we still have to go. We have to kill this project, move on to the next one, get set up, and then we're going to face the same problems again. Sometimes we just got to grab the problems by the horns, and we just got to drive that thing through to the finish line, even though it's really hard. Okay, the next point, faithfulness in small things. Being trustworthy with small responsibilities leads to being trusted with larger ones. I know that a lot of us might not be where we want to be right now in life. That's just life. We really might not be where we want to be. We might not be as far as we want to be. We might not be in the job that we want to be in. We just might not be where we want to be. But remember this, being faithful and trustworthy with small responsibilities in the job you don't like right now, the job that you do have right now, even if it feels like it's little or worthless or whatever, being faithful, and this is a great reminder for myself, being faithful in those times will 100% lead to you being trusted with much, to getting that promotion, to launching that company that takes off for you. But it all starts today, and it starts with wherever we are. Doesn't matter where we are today. It starts right now. Whatever our situation is, now is the time for us to take what we're doing seriously, even if we don't necessarily love it. Okay, next point is preparation and commitment. Prepare today to capitalize on future opportunities, stay committed, and see tasks through to the completion. Okay, so maybe you're not exactly where you want to be right now. Maybe I'm not where I want to be right now. But here's the beautiful thing about every single day on this planet when we wake up. We can make plans. We can prepare. We can say, hey, I know I'm not where I want to be. I want to go over here. You can prepare today. You can start reading more books on it, watching more videos on it, testing, running paid ads on it, making, organic content on it. And you can start doing things today that are going to lay the groundwork for where you want to go. So we need to prepare, and we also need to commit, right? Because when we're jumping around from thing to thing, we have the setup costs every single time that we do that. Okay. Next thing, I think I have quite a few of these things here. I want to read a couple of things here from the book, but we'll do one more of these points. Okay, so importance of good habits. Setting good habits will lead to success over time. Conversely, bad habits result in negative outcomes. The reason why I wanted to talk about this one is because Jim Rohn says in the book, he talks about this. He says basically that there's really no difference between somebody who succeeds and somebody that fails. Only their habits. Their habits are literally the only thing that separate the people that do really good in life and do really bad in life. And pretty much everybody has habits. It's just, do you have good habits or do you have bad habits? You're probably not gonna you're probably not gonna make it happen all in one day. That's just not how it works. The only way that we can get things done in life is by setting up habits, or another word for it would be systems, and then give those habits or systems enough time to get to the results. Now, obviously, we need to make sure that those habits are going to get us to where we want to go, but it is as simple as not trying to find a magic bullet. The magic bullet does not exist. People will confirm this. Like, you don't even have to take my word for it. The magic bullet doesn't really exist. What does exist, though, are solid, strong, good habits that we can implement and do day after day after day after day forever. And so that's really the difference between people who succeed and the people who don't. Per Jim Rohn in the book, that's not me saying it. That is just from the book itself. Okay, so let's go through and let us read just a little something here from the book. This one is called Reap What You Sow. It comes from page 32. So I believe life was designed to give us what we deserve, not necessarily what we need. When you understand that life principle, it's life changing. Sorry. The ancient law is not if you need, you will reap. No, it doesn't work that way. A lot of people hope it works that way, but it doesn't. The ancient law is if you plant, you will reap. So basically, if you want to get something in life, you gotta reap. You gotta plant for it, and then you gotta reap it. Okay, so there's one quote right there from it, and then we'll do one more right here. And this one comes from page 34, and it's called It All Matters. Now, here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the seemingly least important action, the action you think doesn't matter, does. It all matters. We'll read the next paragraph here. Take this advice to heart because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next action and the next one and the next one. If you start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to start eating healthy. Eating right will inspire you to read a book. Reading a book will inspire you to write your goals in a journal. Writing in a journal will inspire you to develop skills to reach your goals. Disciplines affect each other. Lack affects your life. The key is to diminish the lack and increase your resources. So I really wanted to read this part specifically because I couldn't agree with it more. Everything that we're doing matters. I get it. We're probably not exactly where we want to be right now in life. That's okay. That's okay. But even though it seems like when you wake up and you go to your job, or you wake up and you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, even if it seems like it doesn't matter because you're not where you want to be and you're kind of sad about it, it does matter. And so we need to stay focused, do our very, very best, and give it enough time and be patient and persistent. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.